How's it going, pals? Today we're going to take a dive into Lily Phillips, who is a 23-year-old Onlyfans star who decided she wanted to make it her mission to sleep with 100 dudes in a day. Now, I'm sorry, excuse me, but I find this hilarious because that means that there was guy number 13, guy number 15, guy number 19, and guy number 34. I'm just flabbergasted on why this is something that somebody would pick. And before we get to judging and throwing stones out of our glass house, she did give them the courtesy of posting her health information as far as STDs and STIs go. So good on her. And shout out to, I believe his last name is Peters, Josh Peters, for making this documentary. And not so fun fact, but at some point Lily does end up breaking down because of the fact that she had robotic relations with so many men. And after a while, I guess she got into a routine, which is crazy to think about because there's so many different dudes with so many different preferences and styles that I wonder if there was like a stipulation that it all had to be vanilla, like just missionary monotonous sex, or if they all got to delve into their wilder side and interests. Like, I know my job gets monotonous, but I couldn't imagine turning something like physical relation into a monotonous thing to where, you know, you're just like, oh, first I got to this, then that, you stick it, you slide it, you shuffle it, you twist it, you know?
I'm Lily Phillips, and today I'm getting run through by 100 guys.
So immediately, I'm sorry, but the word choice is crazy. The fact that she chose to say ran through is wild.
Is it a shoes off house, a shoes on house?
No, shoes on, honestly, I've got a dog, like, it's a total mess. People call me anything. Star, escort, Onlyfans girl, anything really, I don't really care. It's not like a bother to me. You know what, I don't drink tea.
Yeah. Oh, really?
No, so this is probably going to taste like shit, because I don't really know how to make it, but just good for one thing, me, honestly.
Bro asked if it was a shoes on or shoes off house, and something was telling me it was gonna be shoes on. Who cares, right? We're doing worse things than walking on the carpet. It is a little sad though that she said that she doesn't know how to make tea and that she's good for only one thing. I mean, the self-awareness is crazy, you know what I mean? I wouldn't put that on anybody. But hey, to each their own, different strokes for different folks.
Because I was at university, I was like, I'm being a anyway, could make a little bit of money.
What do you mean by you were being a anyway?
Like, I was just being a at university. Like, I was just sleeping around with everyone.
But I feel like I know of a lot of girls who have done that at university but then haven't gone on to become OnlyFans stars.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I just was like already very, not proud, like very just okay with doing that. Like, I've just always had quite like a sexual nature.
Yeah.
It is an interesting point that before she was doing it on OnlyFans, she was just doing it in college or university, whatever you call it, based on where you're from. But the fact that she even said that behavior, she corrected herself and said that she wasn't proud of it. So it's odd that she felt that way about it, but maybe she's proud of it now because it's monetized. I'm not sure how that thought process goes.
I've seen you say on podcasts and things before that your family and your parents are proud of you and what you've achieved.
Well, my parents knew straight from the start, like, about what I was doing. Yeah, I was just very open with it. Obviously, at the start, they were a bit apprehensive because they want me to be safe and they want me to make good decisions and stuff like that.
Her parents are aware of it, and she said that they're very proud of what she's accomplished. And I make this point because a lot of you in the comment sections or other comment sections may say things like, I bet her dad is proud, or whatever you might say, but clearly her family and friends are on board with it, and she did state that she cares what they think.
I actually wanted to wait till marriage at one point. I just used to think it was a real special thing. As soon as I actually did it and had, I kind of realised that it wasn't special, and also that I just really loved it and really enjoyed it, and that I wanted to do it way more often.
So that's interesting to find out that she's someone who wanted to wait for relations, and then she thought it was something special until she actually had it. Which may point to some that maybe she had it with the wrong person for the first time, or it was just the wrong experience for her. And then that, as she said, it made her feel like it wasn't special, but she liked it so much.
Your partner one day will be someone from the industry, most likely, or?
Yeah, I talk about this a lot with my parents because that's the one thing I guess they worry about is like, will you ever find a boyfriend?
Yeah.
But there's so many guys out in the world. I think, you know, one poor bastard's got to marry me. I rather think it's going to be someone from the industry or someone who is into lending me out.
Lending you out?
Yeah, like into hot wife or being a...
And I might be overanalyzing it, but I am taking note to how she tends to objectify herself when she's talking about herself, or that she kind of degrades herself when talking about herself. Now, a lot of these things are genuinely just sayings, and you know, we're all gonna always read into things a little more than we should when it comes to these controversial issues or just any topic at all. You always can find yourself reading deeply into it, but she's the one that had sex with 100 dudes in a day. We're just along for the ride, metaphorically speaking.
It's not actually, but I'm filming a video with a girl who's going to be sleeping with 100 guys in one day, and she is picking out her outfit for that day.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah.
Does she find them on the internet?
Yes, so you can apply if you're a subscriber of her Onlyfans, so up to 100 people, and then the whole 100 of them get to have with her one at a time on the 19th of October in London.
Oh, and it's on television?
It's going to be on her OnlyFans.
Oh, I see. Okay. She's got to have an early night tonight.
Yes, she does. A lot of electrolytes, a lot of sustenance, a lot of fiber.
Okay, lovely.
Okay. Have a great night. Lovely to meet you.
Bro, I just love these innocent ladies just walking by asking if it's his shop. But it is interesting to find out. We know the criteria for these men. We know that they're all subscribers to our OnlyFans, and they applied for it, and you know, the date is in the future. So it's not all just happening, you know what I mean? There is a system to how it was done. I mean, we'd expect that, obviously. There has to be background checks and information to make sure everybody's safe and clean. And like she said, God bless, but I have a feeling that God ain't got nothing to do with this one.
How much does it cost for the video calls?
How much are they? Like 100 per minute?
Per minute?
300 for 5 minutes. And then 5.
I don't know, man. She might just have this thing figured out. She said $300 for 5 minutes, $500 for 10 minutes. I need to crunch some numbers. Multiply that by 6, divide our integrity times our self-worth. My God. So at $500 for 10 minutes, 6 times, that means she's making about $3,000 an hour. I could be terrible at math though, so definitely correct me in the comment section below and let me know what you think about that money. All I know is it's more than 4.
You ever received any scary message on here, that like something that frightened you or made you feel unsafe?
Some people's requests are sometimes way too much. Like I had literally last week, like, can you put a bag over your head and pretend to be like suffocated? It depends obviously on the request, but stuff like that I probably won't do. I don't want to encourage it. Like that for me, I don't think that's doing helping
What if someone
society.
offered you $1 million to do it?
I probably would bend my morals for that, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So obviously, as many of you online know, anything that you do on the internet comes with the downside of it. As she said, a lot of people will ask for strange things, and one of them being somebody asked her to put a bag on her head, which she said she might bend her morals for $1 million, but in her defense, so did the interviewer. But also, I think that morality, you know, traditional morality left the conversation long ago. But again, that all depends on your values.
Is it that you're going to get him to eat his own semen?
Yeah.
Okay. So okay.
You ready to be my pathetic little loser?
Lily is cool and all, but my favorite part of this whole thing is Josh. Like, bro, he is hilarious. Some of his reactions and just his thought process throughout it is hilarious to me. He said, is it that you're going to get him to eat his own semen? Look at his face, bro. Look at his face, bro.
This is where the applications are coming through.
Where the guys are messaging him.
Is this just going to be completely random as to how you pick them?
Yeah. Like we said, we prioritise the ones who have STI checks. Yeah, I guess the only thing I'm nervous for is like for them to have a good time. I want to make sure they enjoy themselves and don't come away from it like, oh, I feel disgusted or that wasn't fun. 2006.
Oh my God.
So
how does that make him? So 18.
18, yeah. I mean, he does like 18, doesn't he?
He actually said loose my virginity.
So she is literally getting applications worldwide for this in a variety of age ranges. Like that other dude there that was 18 years old couldn't even spell lose versus loose. I mess up that one sometimes though. Restaurant's a hard one too, honestly. Maybe we cut that part out. But as she mentioned, she prioritizes people that are actually subscribed, and I don't know, I'm like, geez, bro, just geez. Did you see how many people were popping into that phone?
People in the industry definitely look down on me for doing this, but I think at the end of the day, people forget that it's also my fantasy, and this is also something that I'm really enjoying and want to do and have wanted to do before I was even in the industry.
You've obviously spoken to your parents about this, right?
I actually haven't. My parents know what I do, but I'm not on the phone to them every day going, oh, you know, I just got DP'd, 17 guys today, or this and that. They don't need to know the logistics.
Of course.
I do feel a little bit like embarrassed being like, Mom and Dad, I'm 100 guys.
Why?
I guess because it's not really what my parents would have wanted me to do. I just don't want them to think less of me.
So I think that that's an important thing to, point out, that earlier in the documentary, she said that she doesn't care what other people think, but her close net of people, she does care what they think. And she said that her parents know about her OnlyFans behavior, but they aren't aware of this 100 guys thing during the production of this documentary before the 100 guy thing happens. And the fact that she said that obviously they don't need to know the individual workings of what she's doing, every job and all of that. But she said that she doesn't really detail it to them not because they would hate her, but because she knows that it's not something they would choose for her. And also she doesn't want them to feel some type of way. So if you care what they think, but you're not telling them everything, you're not actually understanding what they think, and you're kind of avoiding the accountability that you would hold for yourself, if that makes any sense. On the basis of it being OnlyFans and them knowing that it's OnlyFans, a successful OnlyFans career would include a large portion of sexual contact with a lot of people. So if they don't know that, then, that's their own fault. Now, it doesn't mean that it'd be to this level, but if she were to be successful at it, it'd be around this level. Maybe not in a day, but I just think the cognitive dissonance and the fact that of self-degradation, and then her also not really approving of what she's doing herself. But in the same breath, also, it's a goal that she had before she entered the industry, she said.
Also, just all of social media, everyone is preying on your downfall. Banks don't allow you to bank with them. Your Instagram's trying to get shut down. It's just the little things that's just no one likes what you do. And everyone just thinks less of you, basically.
So this one's not really a secret. We all know that relation workers tend to have a difficult time when it comes to just being on social media due to accounts getting banned, or how Lily explained having trouble having friends because people find out her profession and they instantly think that she's a certain way, which, truth be told, will be the case with any career. If somebody knows that you're a construction worker, they have a perception. If someone knows that you're a cop, they have a perception. These are things that just happen, and, this type of work is really no different, but the difference is that hers leaves her feeling extremely lonely because it really affects a lot of personal relations. Now, some of you are going to disagree with me and think that it's just prudence that causes people to feel this way, but if you look back in time throughout history, there is a reason for every belief that humans hold, and a lot of them may be covered up by things such as traditional value or religion, but where did those things get it? Because there is a danger in being with someone who is extremely promiscuous because it opens you yourself up to these things. Now, that evolved into being something that is religion or societal based, but at its root, it is a built-in mechanism to protect you from safety. That's how I interpret it, and I'm not a know-all, be-all guy, but that's how I view these things, because I've asked myself this question a lot. Why do we view certain behaviors as bad, other than just the actual personal value or ideal? And where does that come from? I think it comes from just the simple fact that these things tend to lead to unhealthy behavior. Not unhealthy behavior, but an unhealthy state down the line, whether it be mental or physical. We know these things can cause these things. So through society and throughout time, we've decided that we hold a value to mitigate these things to keep society as a whole healthy. But now we're in this very progressive and open world to where we've kind of got medicines and safety procedures that keep these things in check. But when these things all first became a thing, we didn't have nearly as many checks and balances and safety measures to keep it safe. So back in medieval times, let's say someone was very promiscuous, that would cause some type of disease to spread rapidly because people haven't figured out how to have a control on it. So the only thing to do is to make it a value situation where now we have the means to scientifically prevent a lot of these dangers. So it changes the perspective from this is bad, it can cause this, we shouldn't value it, to, oh, we have the medicine, we have the safety precautions, so it shouldn't matter anymore.
Guys are always going to sexualize me, so I may as well try and profit off that bit.
I mean, not all guys are going to just sexualize you?
I don't really know. I think I don't. I mean, I'm not, maybe not all guys, but a ton would. I mean, I'm like a part of the problem. It's so hard because like doing extreme stuff like this is not normal. Like, and I think then guys are probably going to expect girls to maybe be as strong as me and sleep with this many guys and take it up the ass or do stuff like that isn't real life sex. It's kind of hard to wrap my head around.
But you do enjoy doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people forget it is my fantasy and this is what I enjoy. And so it's hard because you're like being selfish, but you're also not helping the situation.
Here's another great talking point that we can analyze. She says that she understands that she is part of the problem of over-sexualization of women, but she also feels that guys are going to do it anyway, which he responded, not all guys, which is a funny conversation to be having because I would imagine that he sees himself as a man that wouldn't do that in that way. Let's just speak from a heterosexual basis for now. If you're a male, you're attracted to a female and females are attracted to males. So there is an inherent sexualization of each other. But I think the problem isn't sexualization, but it's unwarranted over-sexualization, to which she is very much, like she said, part of the problem. Because again, she's sleeping with 100 dudes, and then just being in the sex industry anyway, it kind of convolutes the idea of sex. But I think that only applies to younger audiences, to which she has. We had an 18-year-old apply for this. And anybody that's a grown man will understand that there's a difference between entertainment-based relations versus real-life sensual activities. But you can't really control the audience if the legal age is a age where you're still developing. So some of these younger men may still get this idea, or even younger women, if we do include the fact that people can be attracted to the same sex. But in all fairness, it's not her responsibility to take care of the perceptions that people around the world may have. But if it is a problem that you're going to complain about, then there is some accountability there. But she does have her own fantasy, this being it. So who's to say that she shouldn't be able to live her life and enjoy it the way that it is, except for the fact that there is a problem that she agrees is a problem, over sexualization, yet she is contributing to that problem.
Another OnlyFans creator, Lily Phillips, is planning to sleep with 100 men in a single day for OnlyFans content. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's really sad. I just worry about her mental health. I'm hoping it's a hoax and it's not gonna actually happen. I don't know. From what I've seen of her, I think she's like young and beautiful. I don't think she has to sleep with 100 guys in one day for attention. I don't know. It's like medically, is she going to be in a lot of pain? Mentally, you're going to be known as the girl that 100 guys in one day, and I think that's really sad. The problem is that when you sign up to objectifying yourself, it's like you're signing a deal with the devil. Like, no one is going to see you as a human being. It gets to the point where everyone objectifies you. That's the reality of it. You're like the cash cow.
Do you think the kind of thing Lily's doing this weekend is the future of OnlyFans?
I hope it isn't, but we keep seeing so many sort of outrageous stunts.
I think Alex here has a great point on it. Once you sign yourself up for objectification, you then become an object to everybody around you for the most part. Now, some might say that anything in entertainment is objectification. The thing about sensual relations is that there is a biological factor. That's why the health concerns and all of that really hit home, and why we can't understand why people are so judgmental with these things, because this very much hits a human nature thing. We are literally wired to procreate. Some people, because we have a consciousness, don't have a desire to, but your body is literally built to, whether you want it to or not. Not wanting to have kids and having no interest, that's a human experience. But your body has the organs and the ability to do it, and you can't fight that. Therefore, there are systems in place in our minds that judge these types of tasks and the behaviors associated with them. And that's why the athlete and the corn star are two different types of objectification. One is just strictly entertainment that is just here and there, whatever, fun, and the other starts to nitpick at our human nature. On top of that, she touched on the fact that she feels it's dangerous because her doing this changes the bar for other women. And of course, as Lily said herself, she feels as though this might make it so that guys and girls have different expectations for what they see as normal. But I do find it interesting that Alex has a bar, so she judges Lily and she's saying, hey, that seems like too much. But the rest of society also thinks that what Alex is doing is too much.
And then you're checking that they've done an STI test?
Yeah, so prioritizing guys who have STI tests. They have to screenshot the results kind of thing. But this is the thing with it, like you can never 100% know if they've had an STI test. And even if they had, they could have slept with 10 girls in between the test and things like that. It's more just like, you know what you're getting involved in if you're willing to participate.
Are you going to kiss any of the guys?
Definitely. I feel like some of them would be a bit put off, especially when they know I've just had like 57 guys inside me or whatever.
Why do you think that would put them off?
I think it's more if someone's to my face. I can imagine that's what's put another guy off.
So you would let like these guys do that on your face?
Yeah.
And in your mouth?
Yeah.
What if they had HIV?
Is that where it comes from? With spunk in the mouth?
It can.
Oh, really? See, I've never really thought about that.
She shouldn't be doing this. She's not equipped to do this. She just asked if HIV comes from in the mouth. Yeah, of course. Of course that's where it can come from. Like, even if it wasn't HIV, like, oh my goodness. Like she said, like someone could get a test and then sleep with people in between because they also are about to participate in something where 100 dudes, 99 other dudes have slept with this woman. Therefore, they could be promiscuous too.
No one, including Lily's team of assistants, seemed to have much of a plan in place for the day.
I don't know what's going on. No, there's a lot of forms this time. The admin side of things is crazy.
Having had their IDs checked and release forms signed in order to allow publication on Onlyfans, 6 men sat anxiously on a sofa, waiting for their turn to have sex with Lily. Meanwhile, it seemed the reality of what Lily was undertaking was starting to become slightly more real.
Hello.
Hello, how are you feeling?
Nervous, no, excited. It's nice to actually meet the boys because it puts you at ease a bit.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm nervous. Is it
And you're not getting.
How are you feeling?
No, I'm a little bit nervous.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Just putting a baby monitor in here so I can keep an eye on you.
All right, so here we are, the day of, and we have an idea of the security measures that were put in place. So first, Lily and her team were kind of late, but we have a security guard at the door, and at the moment of the arrivals, everybody seems kind of unprepared, but we have release forms, and we have ID checks, and then the assistant or main producer of everything is actually putting a baby monitor in the room so that way she can keep an eye on Lily, which is great because then you can hear if anything unwarranted is going on. But it's also crazy to think that she is just going to be listening in to everything that happens. I mean, she's filmed for her, so what's listening when you've seen it?
What do you think?
I think I'm gonna have a break. I think we get to about 12 and have a little.
Okay. Are the guys going to shower? Or
No.
that just comes straight? And the condoms?
Yeah, they're in my bag. I bought like 200 of them.
Yeah, that's good. Just in case because it might break.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like, do we think we're going to get to 100 today?
Yeah. I'm
So, I don't know if you heard, but she just said the guys aren't going to shower beforehand, which makes sense. I mean, considering time constraints and how ill-prepared everything has been so far. But it's also crazy because what if some of these guys haven't showered in a week? This is why you don't do things like this, especially with random amateurs that you just found online on the internet, and some of them are worldwide. I'd imagine that most of them are probably local or were, they made sure that they wouldn't have to be flying from all over. But to think that there's no requirement for them to shower.
I'm excited just to get the first one in.
Yeah.
Like, you just like want it to start. It's like doing a race, like you just want it to start.
It's early in the morning to be honest.
Yeah, it is.
So now we're at the point where the shenanigans are starting and the documentary crew was asked to leave. I'd imagine because some of the guys were just feeling uncomfortable being filmed by them. I mean, they're already signing release forms to be on Onlyfans, but I don't blame them because, you're kind of controlling how many outlets there are. Plus the producers of Lily's side of things probably didn't want the men to be any more nervous than they were. But Josh there did say that it seemed like Lily was even more nervous than she was beforehand, which again, as someone who's performed on stage and things like that, your nerves tend to kick in right before the act. So that's not too strange. But again, we don't want to be assuming how somebody feels about something. We don't want to be interpreting and saying things like sometimes people say there's no way that you feel good about yourself, blah, blah, blah. You don't know how someone feels. You just don't. You can't really put your feelings of something onto somebody else.
200 to get tested, 250 for the flight, maybe 800.
800 pounds and worth it?
Yes, without a doubt.
So that dude spent quite a bit.
We were able to speak to another man as he left the Airbnb, although he seemed shaken by the experience.
How are you feeling?
It's not something I'd normally do, but I saw it and I thought, might as well.
Yeah.
I think I saw it and I just thought, fucking might as well just do it.
And like, how long did you get with it?
Well, she said 5 minutes, and then halfway through, she said she hadn't started the timer, so she said like 5 minutes from now. Which was all right.
So you got some extra?
Yeah, just an extra time.
Do you know how many guys have gone before you?
No idea. No idea.
Yeah, like, is that one?
Well, yeah, but I don't really know idea. You know, I just thought...
Are you happy you did it?
A little bit. I'm just a bit nervous, really, if anyone find out. My dad would kick me out straight away. Yeah.
So this is a funny point. As you saw, that person that went through with it was extremely nervous to the point that he was shaking and couldn't drink his drink. But he had similar concerns that someone that is an actual performer like Lily would have. He was afraid that if somebody found out about it, such as his dad, he would get kicked out. So not only do you have the bias for being the performer, but you also have the bias for being someone who's receiving the performance. Much like people that are OnlyFans creators get judged, and so do the customers who buy them.
I should not be an event planner. I actually can't believe we were going to do this without security. They've been
so helpful.
Absolutely amazing. Like, I could kiss them both. They've been so good.
But like I said, they had a security guard at the front of the door, but the intention was to do this without security at first. They got them there, but that is just so insane and just shows how unprepared they were to do this.
I mean, it stinks.
What does it smell like?
Like, brace yourself. Brace yourself.
Oh, holy
shit. I guess it... You actually can. Is that real?
Yeah, he's not good with smells.
The smell, brother. The smell. That's something I imagine they definitely weren't prepared for, because it's probably rank in there, and with everything else going on, like, if it's dank right now, imagine being the one of the guys that has to go in there and perform in it. I almost gagged myself. I literally almost gagged, bro. Like, contestant number 3 is definitely getting a whole different experience than person number 57.
Yeah. I'll start usually with a up, and then I'd say, like, is there anything you like, don't like, any certain position you want to do?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we kind of got straight into it.
Did you do the with a condom on, or?
No.
No.
I didn't. Condom off.
Okay, but then like once they're having sex, and it's like condom on type thing.
Yeah.
See, and that's one of the reasons why this was extremely dangerous. Like, to the point, I honestly feel a little bit of anger about it for the contestants. Again, everybody signed release forms. Like, it's not that deep, but it is that deep, because as she just said, you could see the look on her face when she said that the oral was condom off. If one of them would have had an STD that was transmissible through oral or saliva, and then the next guy comes in and they all start with oral pretty much, as she said, that would have literally spread it. If the first guy had an STD, it would have spread to each and every other guy, because they decided to do that part, no protection. That actually says volumes about how unprepared they were. That small tidbit, I feel like, is going to come back on her later on. I don't want it to, and I want this all to be fine and nobody have any harm to them, but that single piece of information made this whole thing a travesty, in my opinion.
If I'm honest, it was hard. I don't know if I'd recommend it.
Why not?
I think if you're a different type of girl, it's very like... It's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of, like, it's just a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
It's not like just having sex with someone.
yeah, just one in, one out. Like, it feels intense.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
Sorry. Okay.
And I don't mean to be harsh, but I think the feeling she is experiencing right now is the consequence of her actions. I believe that it's one thing to perform on camera doing solo stuff or maybe with one other performer every now and then. But I think what she just did was she completely made herself feel like an object. But the way I would imagine this is, again, the difference between what she just did and someone who has done this as a corn star would be the fact that, and even they may feel this way, it's the fact that after you have so many, again, this is an intimate activity. You get to the point where you just want to get it over with. And there's one other time where you're doing these things and you just want to get it over with. That is the similar feeling that she just had to experience, except it was consensual. And I don't mean to be insensitive, and I don't want to be taken out of context, but she quite literally asked these men to sign up for this. And as she said, it was intense, but you got to think at a certain point, your mind goes numb and you're just trying to get it over with, especially as they stated, it's more intense and more than what they thought it would be. And they went through with it. And you can't blame the men, in my opinion, because this is what they signed up for. Money has been spent. It was her event. And now she's dealing with the emotions and feelings afterwards. But it is very much, I'd imagine, similar to the feeling of something non-consensual, as far as the wanting to get it over with.
I guess the interactions when, like, I'd have to stop them early and, like, you'd have to stand on business and be like, I'm so sorry, you got to go. And, like, the awkward interaction of, like, you feeling pressure to have to make them come if, like, you haven't spent enough time with them and feeling like they didn't, like, you didn't give them a good time because, like, they only got 2 minutes.
And that's what's making you feel emotional, is that maybe you think you didn't give some guys a good enough time today?
Yeah, and it's hard, I think, having the interactions with them when they're like, what, you're not going to make me finish? I've come all this way. Like, kind of like guilt tripping me a little bit. I felt bad, like, some people had just travelled so far, like, I didn't want to give them a shit time and, like, come away from this and be like, oh, that was shit. I think sometimes, like, feeling so, like, robotic, like, by I think like the 30th, you know, like when we're getting on a bit, I've got like a routine of like how we're gonna do this, and like it just, sometimes you'd like disassociate and be like, you know, like it's not like normal sex at all.
So she's going to explain why she's so emotional, and part of it is because she feels that she may not have performed her best due to the time constraints, and then some of the guys being disappointed because she cut them off early because they were each told 5 minutes. Some of them got extra time, but some of them got the short end of the stick, and some of them may have said, what? Because you have the perception that you're going to get a release. And she said 2 minutes. We all make jokes about people only lasting 2 minutes. I'm sure there are people out there that do. But she has a timer, and 2 minutes is crazy. That just goes to show how unprepared they were, and they put themselves in this situation. Because yes, of course, those guys shouldn't be, you know, demanding if she said you have to go. You know, no is no always and first and foremost. But at the same time, aside from that, they didn't get what they signed up for potentially. That's why it's important to have the context of what these contracts and paperwork were. If they said that they would be able to finish, that's important versus them just being told they're going to have relations, sex. And did it specify intercourse? Because that 2 minutes, you're saying some of these guys got 2 minutes and they all are pretty much starting with a BJ. That's something to think about. That's another one of the things that I think is going to come back to haunt her. Also, it looks like she has a bump on her lip.
In February of 2025, she would be sleeping with 1,000 men in a single day to break the world record.
There you go. I mean, no lessons were learned, bro. No lessons were learned. She went from 100 to 1,000. She times 10'd it. And at the moment of me filming this is December, and I think all of the sleeping happened in October. So in 2 months, I'll be back to check with you guys to see what happened. How do you feel about the fact that some of the men didn't get to finish? Some of them had their time shortened. And how do you feel about the fact that some of them may have pressured her into continuing on so that she could finish? Would you do it for $1 million? That's not what she did it for, but let me know what you think below. Much love, as always. Be safe out there.